Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Heat Wave 32 teams in 32 days. And we are breaking down every single fantasy relevant player for each team in the coming season. Today, we are focusing on the newly Russell Wilsoned up Denver Broncos. I'm your host, the Fantasy Plug, Tim Petropolis, editor-in-chief of BrotoFantasy.com and the Fantasy Football by Broto app. I am joined by my brother, Michael, the king of this fantasy thing and lead analyst for Broto. Matt Ward, the Dynasty Don and fantasy encyclopedia of himself, also the lead writer at Broto, and Santiago Casanova, the genius of fantasy, Broto lead data analyst and developer of the Fantasy Football by Broto app. Speaking of the app, download the Fantasy Football by Broto app today for free and get every tool you need to dominate fantasy football and become your own expert. Every stat you hear us use today can be found on the app, and that includes fantasy player cards, fantasy player grades, usage charts, start sit tools, who to draft tools. Drafts are coming up. Player comps, podcast, consistency charts, game logs, coaching tendencies, articles, rankings, waivers, and every single advanced stat you need. That also includes exclusive stats you could only find at Broto: true throw value, true target value, true performance value, adjusted air yards, and true matchup rankings. This app is free right now, free, 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 for free. Because of our patrons over at patreon.com/BrotoFantasy. A big thank you to you guys. You are the reason why the Broto machine keeps pumping. Join now to support the show, the app, and join the best community in the world for as little as $3 a month. And you get a bunch of extras like an extra show every single week, access to BRoto Leagues, proven cash game optimizers, access to cheat sheets, private team consultations, the most unique fantasy league in the world, and access to the greatest community in the world, not just the fantasy world, the Discord of Broto Fantasy. Today, if you enjoy the show and then you enjoy the app, please consider giving us some money. Just to be like super real for a second. The money goes a long way. It helps us pay for things, which helps us make apps and such. Today we are talking about the Denver Broncos, the offensive outlook. Another first-time head coach in this division. 3 out of 4 head coaches in the AFC West have 1 year of experience or less, and then you have Andy Reid, who's been in the league for 9 cajillion years. Nathaniel Hackett, son of former offensive coordinator for the Jets, Paul Hackett, is the new head coach. He's been the Green Bay offensive coordinator for the last 3 years. Jacksonville offensive coordinator before that, 2016 to 2018, and Buffalo OC, 2013 to 2014. Doug Marrone, I believe, was on both of those staffs. Yeah. The offensive coordinator is Justin Outen. He's been the tight end coach for the Packers over the last 3 seasons. He's only 39 years old. He was coaching high school in 2015 and was an intern for the Falcons in 2016, and he's already an offensive coordinator in the league. So Justin
won a
Outen,
state championship.
yeah, I mean, he's obviously has a stellar reputation in the football world. Last season, I don't want to even mention last season. This is a completely new situation, new quarterback, new head coach, new situation. He goes from coaching A-Rod to coaching Russell Wilson, so you know the guy can coach these kind of out there talent-wise and kind of out there personality-wise quarterbacks as well. Runs a spread offense, really concentrates on quickness, timing, getting guys in open space. The addition, really just one addition, quarterback Russell Wilson, the biggest addition probably that any team has made of this offseason. The rookie, they drafted Greg DeLuche in the 3rd round, and their losses. Dulcich, wide receiver Deshaun Hamilton, QB Drew Lock, QB Teddy Bridgewater, and tight end Noah Fant, some of those people, 2 of those people went back in the trade. So quarterback Russell Wilson. Guys, we've been talking about Russell Wilson a long time on this fantasy show. And one of the reasons why Russell Wilson has always been a big avoid for us is because of the inconsistency that is Russell Wilson. He's always played a very inconsistent style of football ever since he reached those Super Bowls, which is almost 10 years now, which is kind of crazy thinking back on it. Like the 2013 was 9 years ago. So
wow,
he's been hit or miss. And last year, kind of the same thing. Yeah, yes, it was an injury. The year before that, same thing. It's been hit or miss. The year before that, one of the big things we were about was like, let someone else in your league draft Russell Wilson in the 4th round and grab Ryan Tannehill in the 17th or the 13th, and we won a lot of people giving that advice. I mean, a lot of people championships were giving that advice. On the flip side, new team, revamped Russ. I know Michael doesn't like to ever consider the humanity of these players ever in his analysis, but there is something to be said about someone who wants to prove someone something wrong. He has great weapons. They have an improving offensive line. Michael, who's quarterback? Michael, right? Michael.
Yes.
The defense says that Russell Wilson could be a top 10 quarterback. Does the defense's case hold water?
No, the defense is wrong.
Oh
Dude,
my God.
I know
I
that
love Marissa Tomei.
Yo,
Who
me too.
doesn't?
Oh my God.
Who doesn't?
Yeah,
I
I
would,
just had to.
if I wasn't
Mike
already
1-1.
married, I would marry Marissa Tomei.
Psych Ward 1-1, Marissa Tomei.
My cousin Vinny is probably my favorite movie of all time as well.
Same, bro. Oh, Mike,
It's
I
amazing.
love you, brother.
Yeah.
I
love you too, Matt.
just recently rewatched that movie, and it's still as hilarious the 100th time you watch it, and years later.
I need
Two
to watch it,
Utes.
yo.
Two
Bro,
what?
you need to. I think, and it's. I'm glad that someone from Canada appreciates it as much from someone from New York that interacts with people like
100%.
Vinny, probably way more often
Yeah.
than you do.
You know, Russell Wilson's going to be able to throw to a bunch of Utes this year. The young guys, Cortland Sutton,
Ooh,
Jerry
nice
Jeudy,
segue.
and Alberto. Look, Russell Wilson, I was planning on saying a lot about Russell Wilson, and then I just see his ADP at QB10, and I was like, well, okay, this makes it very simple. Look, Russell Wilson was 13 in points per game last year, was 5th in true target value. In his down year, quote unquote, he was 6th in yards per attempt and 1st in average depth of target, so he was still doing his thing. The year prior, he was 7th in points per game, 6th in true throw value. The year prior, 6th in points per game, 3rd in true throw value. The year prior, 11th in points per game, 2nd in true throw value. And the reason there's this big discrepancy here is because I've been saying, screaming from the rooftops for years, Brian Schottenheimer and Pete Carroll have just been wasting away Russell Wilson's golden years in his prime, and we've all been just cheated out of prime Russell Wilson for years because of Brian Schottenheimer and Pete Carroll, and now he's in Denver. He gets a solid supporting cast, a completely different offense where he doesn't have to just hand the ball off to whoever is in the damn backfield for Seattle whenever he was there. Like, it was a joke, that offense in Seattle. I was just furious with the Seattle offense the entire time Russ was there. And at QB10, dude, that is absolutely his floor. There is no reason at all to fade Russell Wilson at that cost. He's one of the easiest picks, I think, in like all of fantasy football at that cost.
Yeah.
Oh, baby. So, Michael, I know that you were trying to go with the movie, but you went the opposite way. The defense's case does hold water.
No, but remember, she says no in the movie, but then it kind of
does.
does. It was just
Yeah, you're
wrong
right.
the way he was
Oh.
looking at it.
Layers,
you-
dog.
That's
Layers.
true.
That's layers.
All right, let's get into these running backs
Ah,
because
I love my.
I gotta tell you this, man. Javonte Williams is probably my biggest fade of the season. And I mean, I could be wrong about that, but this guy's going in the middle of the second round, and he did not even get 50% of the snaps last year. Like, and Melvin Gordon is still there. Now, they only given Melvin Gordon $2.5 million this year, which is not a big sum. And I like to say follow the money. But they wouldn't have brought him back if he wasn't going to take a significant chunk of this kid's workload. And you're drafting him as if Melvin Gordon doesn't exist. He's being drafted at his ceiling right now in the middle of the second round, in my opinion, especially because he's going way before a guy like Breece Hall. Or like, why? The usage is going to be so much more for Breece. But anyway, with that being said, I don't want to. I guess I've already said it. Matt, why don't you tell us how you feel about this? Not just me, just rambling.
Well, I think this might be the most polarizing running back room that we have in the NFL as far as fantasy is concerned. So I want to highlight a lot of things, actually. And a lot of these things can be found in the app. If you go and check out their usage from last season, like it's about as close to a 50-50 split as you can get. And yeah, we do like to say, and it's kind of something that we've reiterated, and we've been wrong with Jonnu Smith with contract offers and stuff like that. But this is a different situation because Melgo isn't on a new team. He's on the same team. And for them, especially with how young Javonte is, the amount of money that they're going to allocate to Russell Wilson, they're going to have to re-sign at least, they already did re-sign Cortland Sutton, but Albert O or Jerry Jeudy will both have contracts coming up at the exact same time. And if Albert O is as good as we all think and as good as he's shown in the opportunities that be given, it's going to be a sizable contract for that kid as well. And of course, Jerry Jeudy is the hype machine that he is. They're going to have to pay him. So the situation that I'm trying to point out is they're going to want to keep Javonte Williams as fresh as possible until the end of that rookie contract. And that's why Melvin Gordon is there. It might be more of we saw a 51-49 split in favor of Melgo last season. It might be more of a 55-45 in favor of Javonte. But another thing about Javonte's profile that a lot of people just overlook is he's never had 50% of the carries in college either.
Ooh,
like
Michael Carter.
He split touches with Michael Carter. And his best season was in a shared backfield. So yeah, Javonte has really, really impressive like per touch numbers. He's when he did get that lead role, he excelled in it in the one game that Melgo was hurt.
But, he was very good that game.
Very good. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Javonte Williams as a talent. He had 81 evaded tackles, which was 6th in the league, even though he shared the field. 3.42 yards created per touch, 84 yards created after touch, which both top 10 as a rookie. It's very impressive. He's a very good player, but I don't think that Melvin Gordon is just going to sit back and see a 25% opportunity share in this offense. And a big part of that reason is because we have a 22-year-old Javonte Williams who was drafted high enough to be able to keep him on a rookie contract for 5 years when the Broncos are going to be in cap trouble. So why would you slam Javonte with 330 touches in a single season when you do still have Melvin Gordon? And on a per touch basis as well, when Melgo was very, very effective. So it's not like he was a dusty 30-year-old running back. Melvin Gordon was a very effective lead running back last season.
Yeah,
so even
funny,
go ahead.
Sorry to cut you off, but Melgo, 4.5 yards per carry, Javonte 4.4. Melgo 0.61 rushing yards over expected per attempt, Javonte 0.51. So it's not like Melgo,
I was getting to it.
Yeah, it's glorious.
No, I appreciate that because that's exactly it. They're very similar opportunities with Melgo actually being a little bit better for your fantasy teams, especially at cost, I think. And their ADPs are ridiculously far apart. I don't think Javonte is going to finish as a top 12 running back in points per game, and that's what you have to draft him as this season. So I'm not overly confident in that outcome. Therefore, I will not be drafting Javonte Williams.
Amen. I'm gonna have 0 shares that guy.
The opposite side of that is Melgo with a RB 30 plus ADP in the 10th, 12th round. I think you guys should smash that. I think everybody should be hopping on Melgo as a flex because you don't even have to draft him as your RB2, and he's going to put up RB2 numbers.
The issue with fading Javonte is the non-0% chance that this becomes a Alvin Kamara, Mark Ingram situation where Javonte Williams just completely takes over and becomes an absolute stud, and everyone who drafted him has high win percentages.
The thing is that's not guaranteed, Michael, though, because you're drafting it's just in the middle of the second round. So that's what I mean. Like, I wouldn't be so mad at Javonte if he was going in the 4th or if he was going in the middle of the 3rd, but you're drafting him in the middle of the second round. You're drafting him to be the Alvin Kamara in the second year of the dual.
He is being drafted at his absolute ceiling. That's something that we've talked about on the pod, or I've, that's not something that I like to do. I'm a value drafter for sure. I like to not necessarily look at I need a running back, but this is the best player available. And I think ADP is literally our RB12 and pick 17. So that's steep, man.
It is. It's definitely steep. I do think that, like I said, Tim, I'm not saying it's expected. I too have not been drafting Javonte Williams really. I've basically been fading him as well. Just that there is a non-zero chance that he becomes a star.
And I do agree. I do agree. And as a Saints fan, that wasn't even something that was necessarily predictive because the year before, Mark Ingram led the league in rushing touchdowns. Yeah. And then It just disappeared.
And
So he was much more productive than Melvin Gordon was, like that Melvin or the Mark Ingram, Alvin Kamara situation. Like Ingram was much more productive than Melvin Gordon was last year in the year that he got superseded by Kamara. So like I understand what Mike's saying, and but it's a lot different too. Like there are nuances that I like to look at. I'm an analytics guy first and foremost, but like nuances of like contracts and stuff I find very important, especially as a dynasty manager. And like like in that particular situation, like Ingram wasn't re-signed to stay with the team. He was already on that long first extension, and Kamara was on the rookie contract. Like the re-signing of Melgo, I really think is a situation where the Broncos want their cap space to have a RB1 under a rookie contract.
I hear you there.
I mean, that's it's not a bad take. That's why else would they bring Melvin back, right? Also, I think we have to also consider like this is the actual NFL, and sometimes dual running backs are better for a team's success, and they don't give a fuck about your fantasy team. And I think that this is going to be one of those situations, because we saw Nathaniel Hackett last year, and Nathaniel Hackett, he used AJ Dylan. Sorry, Michael just decided to put in the chat. This is an interesting team. You could say that out loud, Michael. Like, this is not private chat talk. I agree with you.
Tim clearly missed the message prior, but just go off, Tim. Go off, you annoying ass guy.
Oh,
talk. Say what you want.
I did miss the.
That's right.
Cass said we're running a little long. Mike said it's an interesting team. I just thought Michael was describing it. Team is so interesting. It is.
It is.
I need to text you guys about it.
It's arguably the most polarizing team to talk about.
It is very, very divisive.
New quarterback, new coach, like
new everything.
Wild ass wide receiver room.
We haven't even got to the wide receivers yet. But before we get into the wide
we
receivers,
should.
Yeah, let's get into the BRoto tip of the day.
The tip of the day.
Oh, it's a fantasy football by BRoto app. You're not gonna get this all the time, but on the podcast, one of the reasons why Cass is so invaluable to the BRoto family is because he's a fantasy genius. Because not only does he know about fantasy football, but he also knows how to make apps, and that's why we have an app that's great at fantasy football. Cass, here he is. Tell the people about it. This particular tip.
Cass is muted again.
Damn, twice now. 2 episodes. My bad. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the true player grades, which is a new development this season. And so if you go inside the true package, you can select true player grades, and you'll get a real nice list with a number grade and then the letter grade for that player. Then some info, the precision, their opportunities. And what this represents is it's a weighted algorithm that is both trying to predict, but at the same time accidentally describing what happened, right? So we're using, in this case, 2021 stats to try and predict 2022 performance. But by using 2021 stats, we are describing what happened in 2021. So Cooper Kupp got a 99.9 true fantasy grade, which is insane. So the way this works is players are allocated in a 0 to 100 scale. So that means there's only one 100 grade, and that was Christian McCaffrey in the year he just popped off. But yeah, so this is trying to predict next year, describing this year. Go check it out. It's very useful.
Yeah, it's awesome. Patrick Mahomes also has a 100 grade in his
it goes by position.
Bank.
Yeah. It goes by position, yeah.
That 1 year where he was just the man. Let's get into these wide receivers. Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick. Who's going to be, Cass?
KJ Hamler.
The answer may surprise you. So this wide receiver room is weird as hell. I think that's kind of product of Drew Lock being the QB that made them so weird. But if you look at the target percentages for last season, it was 18.1 for Sutton, 18.9 for Jeudy, and 16.6 for Patrick. So not terribly dissimilar. They were all pretty much in the same range. And so not very good either. No one is standing out. And look at the points per game. So Sutton with his 18.1 had 8.8 points per game, a lot of eights. Judy, with his 18.9 target share, had 8.5 points per game.
Oof.
Now Patrick, with his 16.6, had 9.8 points per game, which is definitely interesting, especially when you consider he has the lowest ADP of them all. Now, looking at their finishes last year when they played all together, because Judy missed some time and Sutton was coming out of an injury. So those are things that I do factor. But top 24 performances, so wide receiver 2 or better. Cortland Sutton, 3. Judy, 1 all year to top 24 performance. And the man, Tim Patrick, had 4 top 24 performances. So this is not as clear cut as some people make it out to be. This is not even just Sutton versus Judy. This is so much more at play. And to be honest, Mike already said the Russ is going to be a stud, and I agree. But I think this is going to be a very split with no clear alpha wide receiver. And just looking at the ADPs, Tim Patrick represents the best value out of the 3. I am picking up some Sutton and Judy shares because their ADP is also kind of low. If you're following the, I guess, inverse Eli Manning rule, if we think Russ is going to be a stud for fantasy, we can assume his wide receivers are also going to be good. So wide receiver 20 and 22 for Judy and Sutton is not terrible, not as tremendous as a value as Patrick is at wide receiver 62, who I'm targeting. That's insane. 62 is absolutely insane.
Absolutely.
Because he's not the clear-cut wide receiver 3 on his team, as I just pointed out. He has been based on target share, and that is a huge part of it. But I think if you're getting passes from Russ and producing more efficiently than the other 2 guys, you might be onto something better that wide receiver 62.
I also tweeted
they did re-sign Tim Patrick to a big contract. Sorry to cut you off, Mike, but
that's fine.
Patrick was a part of that big re-signing along with Sutton as well. Like they threw a lot of money at that guy after his late career breakout, and to do so with like Drew Lock and Teddy B is also kind of impressive when you look at their true throw values being like abysmal, and Patrick just obliterating the points per game threshold.
Yeah, I agree there. I think Patrick is a good pick at ADP. The guy I'm like confused about, like I tweeted this the other day. I've never seen so much hype around a player who's been so unproductive his first 2 seasons in the league. Jerry Jeudy has played in 25 games and he has 3 top 30 performances. Like whether you have a bad QB or not, that's disgusting. Like he's just straight up been an unproductive wide receiver both of the first 2 seasons of his career. Yes, he's been injured some, but he's played in 25 games and has been a non-factor 22 times. Like at some point, it's not just always young and it's bad quarterbacks. At some point, it's when is this guy going to get going? And maybe he does break out this year with Russ, but at his current ADP, I mean, like he's going ahead of like Juju. I'm taking Juju over Jerry Jeudy
Insane.
all day, every day.
Yeah, absolutely insane.
Yeah. So I'm not a big fan of Jeudy there.
Not only is he going ahead of Juju, he's 14 spots higher in wide receiver ADP, 20 versus 34. That's absolutely insane. Sorry, Tim.
No, I mean that basically covers it. I think people are looking at it this way: like Russell Wilson has supported 2 fantasy viable wide receivers for a very long time. So can he do that again? I think he can. So these 2 guys are probably going to be the beneficiaries. So I don't think it's crazy to draft Jerry Jeudy, but I do think he's going at a ceiling. And again, I not something I enjoy doing, drafting people at their ceilings. All right, let's go over to the tight end. Albert O takes over. They felt comfortable trading Noah Fant, who was a generational talent coming out of the draft in terms of his measurables, to make room for him to make that trade for Russell Wilson. So how are we feeling about Albert O this year?
Look, Albert, it sounds like you're saying Alberto. Alberto, look,
Okwekbunam.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna try to say that.
Okwekbunam.
But look, Alberto,
I just got Tagovailoa like 14 days ago. So give me a minute.
His ADP currently, tight end 15. As Matt alluded to earlier, he's a very good athlete. Noah Fant may be measured a little bit better, but Alberto is a very good athlete in his own right. He has the draft capital, and they got rid of Noah Fant. Like they traded Noah Fant in the Russell Wilson trade, and I don't think they're trading away Noah Fant, a tight end that they use a first-round pick on, if they didn't believe in Albert O to be the starting tight end for that team. And now we're getting all this mixed reviews from the beat reporters that Greg Dulcich is going to have a role as a rookie. He may even take over the starting spot. Rookie tight ends almost never have an impact for a team. Pat Freiermuth last year was a complete outlier, and that's because he was taking the job from Eric Ebron, who is an older, unproductive for the most part, bust throughout his career. Alberto is not that guy. Alberto is still young, still has a lot to, still has a long way to go in terms of growing and becoming a useful NFL tight end. And I don't think they drafted Greg Dulcich because they don't like Alberto. And Alberto has shown throughout his first season that he wasn't a rookie. Wait, was he rookie last year? I'm bugging right now.
It'll be his third because he
blew
his ACL
he was a rookie
in his rookie
2 years
season.
ago. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I got confused. But like the question really is, will Alberto be the guy? To me, it's yes. I don't think he's gonna be taken over by a rookie tight end. And then the second question is, can he snag a target share around like say 18% or so? I don't think that's too much of an ask. Like Cass said, Cortland Sutton, Tim Patrick, Jerry Jeudy, all of them last year basically had very, very similar target shares. Throw Albert O into that mix. If this is a everyone be helping each other out, like everyone have big separate games type where everyone is involved almost every single game, that's fine with me. Can he be a Mike Gesicki type player where production wise, where he sees that number of targets? Maybe at tight end 15, I'm not really scared at that cost. I'm willing to take the shot on Alberto at that cost because I do think Russ has a very good shot to have a big season here in Denver. And we've seen him, like, he hasn't produced a viable tight end option in a bit, but he's been dealing with since Jimmy Graham in 2017, but he's been dealing with like Will Dissly's and Nick Vanette's of the world. Alberto is a good athlete, and I'm willing to take the upside shot on a young, strong athlete in this offense as a late round tight end option if you're missing out on one of the big guys.
I like it.
Yeah.
All right. Sorry. Go ahead, Matt.
No, I love it. I love Alberto. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Matt, short, sweet, to the point. Bold predictions. Let's get it in. Matt, since I just rudely cut you off, you can go first.
Yeah. Okay. Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon finish within a point per game of one another.
Wow. All right, let me piggyback off that. I'm going to say Javonte Williams finishes outside the top 15 running backs in 2022.
Crazy.
Yeah.
You're crazy. Oh, you're crazy.
All right, I'll say Jerry Jeudy ends outside the top 36 wide receivers.
Okay, so now we're going to have to bet. So now we have to bet.
Oh, anyone writing down these bets? Because
this is a bold prediction.
I know. I'm not betting. I'm not betting on wide receiver 36. What are your terms?
I'll go like wide receiver 28.
Okay, I'll take that. Better than wide receiver 28.
All right, I'll write it down.
I'll just piggyback off of that as well. The guy Tim Patrick is wide receiver 2 for the Broncos. Not for fantasy, not like top 24. He's gonna be the number 2 for the Broncos.
I think that's pretty bold.
Who's number 1?
It might very actually well happen.
TBA.
Who's number 1? Oh boy.
TBA. Yeah, it's gonna be spicy.
Oh,
spicy
boy.
wide receiver room.
TBA
right. To be announced.
Oh, I was like, who's TBA?
I was thinking of like
Thaddeus Brown, Arnelius, great guy out of Oklahoma State.
Dorial Green Beckham, DGB.
Yeah, that one.
All right, guys. With that being said, that is all for today. We're going to see you tomorrow with a brand new division. Until then, follow us on Twitter. You can see the handles. I don't got to read them to you. You could read, probably. Stats say you could probably read if you're watching this. Good night.
Peace.